Duty schedule. In this tutorial we will cover about duty scheduling in Keplar, the use of groups in scheduling, difference between normal and flexi duties, how duty patterns help in scheduling repeating duties. Process duty schedule sets a shift for a set of staff for a given number of days. If a staff is not assigned a duty but has in and out punches, attendance report still shows as absent. Process duty schedule menu is available under attendance and time menu. Workflow process duty schedule. Roster type determines the type of roster being created. It can either be the normal roster or the flexible roster. Normal roster shows the rosters and shifts created in Manage of Attendance and Time menu, while Flexi Roster deals with the rosters created in Roster Setting menu. Button above, add View Flexible Roster, which has more control over the time settings. Employee number is an optional field which would allow to show the business unit, shift, and group of staff associated with that person, so that it would be easy to set similar duty schedules based on employee number of another staff. Business unit field allows to pick the roster to which the schedule is going to be created. Selecting the business unit shows the staff in the groups associated with that business unit in the right bottom table. Drop down to select corresponding roster names appear for the selected business unit. Once the roster is selected, Select Shifts drop down allows to select multiple shifts to which the schedule is going to be created. The shifts selected here are shown as columns in the duty scheduling window below. Schedule has three parts: from, to, and schedule until. From and to date sets the days for the pattern for this schedule. The schedule set for these days would be repeated until the date set on schedule unital field. If the shift is repeating by 7 days, which is usually the case, from and to date inclusively should be for a week. If the shift is repeating by every 2 weeks, from and to date inclusively should be for 14 days. Schedule until set the date to which this pattern should be extended to. If this date is set to the end of the year, duty schedule would be repeated till the end of this year. Pressing the Submit button generates the template for scheduling the roster in the scheduling window's editable table below. Scheduling window shows each row for a date between from and to, and columns represents the shifts selected above. Off shift automatically appears for rosters that have off shift in them. Double-click the cells to edit its content. When cells are modified or double-clicked, a red marker on top left corner of the cell appears. Each cell can have commas separated employee numbers or group letters or both. Fill the cells with appropriate employee number or staff group letter to generate the schedule. Make sure the correct staff or group is under the correct shift column and date. Group letters are not case sensitive. Only the staffs associated with the current user can be included to process the duty. This can be set from the menu Supervision and Workflow. Assign administrative associates. After filling the form, press Replicate and process Schedule to replicate the pattern defined till the schedule until value. Processing completed message would appear when the roster is completed successfully. Process Schedule button does not replicate but generates roster for the visible dates only. Clear button removes the scheduling template and clears all the form fields so that new roster can be generated. To process duty schedule for flexible rosters, select Flexi Roster from Roster Type drop-down. All the flexible roster shifts with their codes are shown in Flexible Shifts list window on the right side. Again, selecting employee number shows his or her business unit and groups. Or you could simply select a business unit from the business unit drop-down. In Flexible Roster type, you cannot select a roster from the roster drop-down. Select Shift drop-down is also disabled in this roster type. As before, select the from date and to date the roster would be generated. You can set the roster for a particular day or days. Schedule until date is required only if we are going to extend the pattern. For now we will keep it blank. Pressing the Submit button shows the scheduling window. The rows represent the scheduling days while the Flexible Shifts alpha codes are shown above. As before, you can type the employee number or group code or both in the cell corresponding to the right date and Flexible Shift code. You can type in an employee number not listed under the groups on the left. When finished completing this matrix, submit process schedule to process the schedule only for the shown days. If completed successfully, processing complete message appears. When Flexible Roster is not generated for a staff for a particular day, system would check if the normal roster is created for that staff for that particular day. If neither exists, it would default to the default roster of the organization. Default roster of the organization can be manged from button menu roster setting add view default roster menu. Thank you for watching Keplar Time and Attendance series. Please subscribe to get the latest updates on Keplar.